my surprise that the younger generation is much more in tune to sustainability than the older generation. In a rural situation, even in this county, you still have people that would take the trash out and burn it.
Quite interesting. You think of the concerns of having a landfill beside a river. It's actually viewed as a very good thing because the water in the river doesn't allow for gas to find its way from the landfill into other areas. It's a natural border.
The biggest problem that we see right now is the increase in cardboard. And that's being pushed by the Amazons of the world. Your generation likes to order off of Amazon. And they don't go to a building and pick up anything. And therefore the amount of cardboard for packaging, both in the box form but in the product itself, continues to go up. And you can't put cardboard in the landfill.
For every dollar we spend, 10% of it goes towards packaging that is thrown away. Packaging represents about 65% of household trash.
We all have too much stuff, and I think what we're seeing from the generations that are starting to downsize is all the stuff that they've kept to pass on to future generations. Nobody wants. Their kids don't want more stuff. They've bought stuff. And it's such a disposable society that nobody buys the good quality stuff anymore. We use it until it's broken and then we throw it in the landfill.
It's the bad American expression. You just throw it away, we'll get a new one. Now this is a lot of
denim.
Textile. This is denims. That's exactly right. Is this your size? Not exactly.
I think one leg.
Not exactly. Maybe two. We can sew together here. All right. But this comes from a company, brand new material, all denim. They can have different colors, sizes. Some have tears in them. Some have are completely good to wear. Well, of course, the torn stuff you can wear too. But we're talking to people now about buying all this stuff. But it's all different kinds, shapes, colors of denims.
Yeah.
Brand new material. This is actually from a company that makes credit cards, token cards.
Oh.
It doesn't have any magnetics, but if something gets misspelled or whatever, they require that everything has to be shredded because they don't want any of their stuff getting into the marketplace in whole pieces.
Probably the one thing you have to keep in mind is that even after the closure of the landfill, for maybe 20, 25 years, you have to monitor the water and the methane gas of those landfills to make sure you're still in compliance. Also, all that trash you put in that hole over time tends to want to sink. So sometimes in a closed landfill over the years or over the decades, you will see some migration of the land falling.
So, did you want to get out and get closer?
Could we?
Sure. Yeah, we can. Okay, be prepared for the smell.
I am prepared.
This was opened about 25 years ago. The life expectancy of the landfill at that time was approximately 45, 50 years. Through all the things we've talked about taking product out to be recycled, has increased our life to now where we have a life expectancy of some 75 to 80 years, even though we've been in operation for 25.
So the next cell we'll go into is this cell, and we actually should have been in it 2 years ago. But because of our compaction and other things that we've done, we have been able to save off and not get into it yet. although we probably will be in it by the end of this year.
So all new landfills have to be lined like this one.
Yep.
I'm Kaylee.
Nice to meet you.
So how do you like driving this thing?
It's alright.
Sorry. Another day on the job?
Yeah. We're talking about this.
The compactor may have to push the trash a little bit farther to get it where it wants to go, but then and then we just drive over it all day long. And those wheels weigh 10,000 pounds apiece.
The EPA estimates that 75% of the American waste stream is recyclable, but we only recycle 34.3% of it.
Where the market is today, by the time one handles a recycled product, puts it in a form that is shippable or bellable, and then pays for transportation and enters contracts with companies, it's pretty much a losing proposition. So we counterbalance that loss with money we make at our MSW. And the income there is mostly generated by tipping fees. So the City of Burlington, City of Graham, City of Nevin, and the private carriers, Waste Industries, Waste Management, pay us a certain amount per ton to use our landfill. And we take the profits that are generated from that to offset the losses that we incur in the recycle market.
So anywhere you take stuff to landfill, you got to pay them what they call a tipping fee. And all counties and cities vary. They all have their own. They set their own rates. So if you take a truckload in, you get a ticket on the way out. Everything we get in, if it's just looser in boxes, which you'll see some, we take it out the box and we bale it up.
And so all of this just comes from
Industrial
the
companies,
themselves,
yep.
Rejects.
That's right, the rejects, wrong color, somebody dropped it, it's the wrong order, or somebody ordered the wrong material, the wrong size, whatever it is.
Wow.
Yeah, you can pick, 150 reasons. These have to be ketchup bottles, and for some reason, everything related to food has got a shelf life, whether it's a box or whatever. If you haven't used it by then, it has to be gotten rid of. Because if the inspector comes around and catches you, it's outdated.
So these are bottles that were never used.
Never used.
That have to be recycled or done away with.
If we were not going to recycle these, they'd end up in the landfill. If this guy, like say, with all these bottles now, had taken all these 10 loads to the landfill, because I'm going to figure up the numbers today, it probably would have cost him about $8,000. And we're going to do it for about $3,000.
Wow.
So it makes a big difference.
On average, it costs $30 per ton to recycle trash and $50 to send it to a landfill.
If they see something, doesn't look right during production, it's miscolored, or maybe somebody spilled something on it, whatever, they kick all this out. Or if somebody just doesn't like the way it looks. Americans. Now this is just a lot of the pallets that were used, different sizes or colors or whatever. And a lot of people are getting away from the wooden pallets and are using these. These are a little more expensive, but there's more life use out of them. And you just think all over the country how this stuff is done. It's a lot of waste. Here's some milk jugs. This is a company, they make, in fact, it's the Kroger's. They make these milk jugs at their own plant, and then some that are defective, then they just put them in a bag or stuff, and we bale them up and recycle them. Have them recycled.
Wow.
These are going out of here today or tomorrow, hopefully. And some more. When they run these things through a line, a lot of times you'll have excess waste on the side of the mold or the extruder, and this is called the purge grade because it's bigger pieces and it's smaller pieces in some cases too, but they put those in a separate box. We try to work more closely with landfills to say, hey, if you're getting a lot of this particular type of plastic in, set it aside, or we'll put a trailer here or whatever, or if you want to bale it up, whatever, we'll buy it from you.
Part of the convenience center is also a recycle center. So any number of products, things that you would think about, we take a lot of that product out of our landfill operation. Now, why do we do that? One, some of it's decreed by law, whether it be the EPA or the state tells us there's certain products you cannot put in a landfill, such as tires. Then there's local ordinance. We can tighten the screws, if you will, to keep other things out. And then there's just good general practice of recycling.
So this is our mixed paper. You'll see it has a lot of cardboard mixed in with it. We used to not necessarily separate mixed paper as much as we do now because when the economy went down, mills got very picky about what they wanted in their bales, and so we had too much mixed paper mixed in with our cardboard. So we started getting hits on what we were getting paid. So we had to start picking it cleaner to make sure that our cardboard was truly cardboard. So that's why we end up with as much mixed paper as we do.
Is the lighter bale just regular average day
The
paper?
next bale down, that's actually our shredded paper. We have an industrial shredder that we let people come in and shred documents and stuff. And so it shreds, and I'll show you that, it shreds directly into a different baler. And that's what comes out. And actually, this is all shredded paper. But it's pretty solid.
Like a hay bale.
Yeah. And I mean, amazingly enough, shredded paper stays together like that. Sometimes we may wait a whole year before we ship a whole truckload of aluminum just because the price varies so much.
Yeah, the market could go up tomorrow or next week or the week after, but if you're a gambler, you can do that. But as soon as we get a truckload of anything.
I think the whole thing is education.
You know, you got to start with the little guys that are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old.
Take a big social education or rethink of how we live our lives if you really want to make dramatic decreases in what goes to a landfill. One of our priorities is to make sure that we're in contact with the local community in that this is a rural area, a lot of farming, historical in the area, small community of Saxapaw. And we just want to make sure that people understand that the technology is here and the commitment is here to make sure that we don't have any environmental concerns that would affect in any way their daily life or their ability to make a living off the land.
Our basic mission is to reduce the waste that goes into the waste stream, into our landfills locally. So that is one of our main missions, but what we're also interested in is supporting artists and teachers with some of the supplies that we get. We did a pop-up shop first downtown. We did a micro grant through Action Greensboro and had a free pop-up shop and tried that out. Yeah, and so it kind of was a great way to teach people about creative reuse and show them what it was because a lot of people weren't familiar with that word.
This is just one of the thousands of ways to practically and creatively repurpose trash into household items.
So we try to think of it as the big picture of just showing people all the little things you can do and how it adds up in the end.